The views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the policy or position of ONTV's management, staff, or board of directors.
Captain Carnage, Dr. Tweed, The Mask, Miss Linda and Adrian Street, the Human Bomb Shelter, Jake the Snake, ask Mad Dog DeCurso if it's real or fake. Golden Greek told us the giant goon Dickoff, El Toro, the Grunt Brothers too. The Wild Samoans got something crazy going. They're gonna be going after you. Wrestling tonight. Everything is bigger than life. Wrestling tonight. Rock and roll and wrestling tonight.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Tonight. I am your host, Mad Dog Butch. Joining me, as always, the CEO of the cartel and Max Andrews' boss, Brace Beemer.
Yeah. Great to be back.
It is. We are finally back in the studio, and we have a very, very special guest this week. Let's just get right to it. It is none other than Hall of Famer, referee extraordinaire, Mr. James Beard. So you are in, what part of Texas are you in?
I'm in East Texas. I'm about halfway between Dallas and Shreveport, close to Tyler.
Okay. Thanks again for being on here. So anybody that watches our podcast normally knows we kind of focus on old school wrestling.
Right.
We do from time to time have local wrestlers that are our friends on current wrestlers. But we are so excited to actually have you on here, someone that lived it and breathed it, and somebody that can tell us how it was right from the horse's mouth.
Well, I appreciate it. It's just good to be with you. I guess there's some advantages to being old.
I didn't say that.
That's only a state of mind.
Exactly. So I guess my first question for you would be, what were your first memories of professional wrestling?
Oh, wow. Honestly, I can remember watching on an old black and white TV when I was just really, really small. We lived about 90 miles from Dallas, and of course, reception wasn't all that great. We didn't have cable or anything. I had an old antenna, and we watched the Dallas promotion from there. They had a show on Saturday afternoons, which was a studio show, and then on Saturday nights, KTBT had the Channel 11, the big show. Okay. And I watched that religiously when I could, when the weather was good enough that we could receive it. Okay. And I don't know, I think I was probably about 8, 9 years old. My parents took me to the Sportatorium for the first time. Nice. And it was really a surreal kind of experience. I got to see those guys for real for the first time, and it was I can remember that feeling. I try to remember Wild Bull Curry and Pepper Gomez, Danny McShane. Oh my goodness, I can't remember all the guys that were there then. And then I went back again maybe a year or so later, and I was hooked from a kid on. It's something I was always really interested in. I got involved in the music business, and I kind of morphed into this. Some of the guys in around the Dallas area would come around where I was playing different places, and they would talk to me and find out that I had a clue about it, and they kind of pushed me into the business. One of those deals where they throw you in the water and tell you to sink or swim, And it was it was just kind of one of those things that just fit really. When I walked in the ring the first time, I felt real comfortable.
So the three guys that you mentioned, were those like your favorite wrestlers of that era, or did you have others?
Well, there were some of them. Red Bastien, of course, Billy Red Lyons, Cowboy Bob Ellis. He was a cowboy. I'm from Texas. You know, you're going to.
Right.
That was natural. That was a natural thing. Of course, Fritz von Erich was there, but he was the guy that everybody hated at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's kind of strange because later on, after I got into the business and watched and got to know some of those guys, Johnny Valentine, Red Bastine were wonderful friends and guys that I learned a lot from. Gary Hart, same thing. Skandor Akbar. All those guys became really good friends that I worked closely with.
You know, a lot of those guys were big names up here in Detroit too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They certainly were.
Curry was huge.
Yeah. Another good friend of mine, Killer Tim Brooks, made quite a name up there as well. Yes. And he and I became very close over the years.
Yeah, we were just talking about him a couple months ago after he passed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was that was a tough thing to take. I got to visit with him quite a bit the last few months of his life, and it was a great experience to be able to talk to him, you know, one to one, and kind of, I guess, on a different level than we ever had before, you know, and it was very, very nice.
Well, one thing that I did see, I believe they did get him into the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame down there before he passed away, correct?
Yes. He was living in a small town about an hour from Dallas, and Johnny Mantell called a few of us, and we got together and actually called the church that he had been attending, and they did most of the work. They put it all together, and it was a big surprise for him. He thought he was going to a kind of a church event.
Yeah.
And he walked in, and all of us were there, you know, and it was great to be able to do that because he deserved that, you know. He wasn't going to be able to make it to the Hall of Fame inductions, and as it turned out, they were canceled also because of the COVID situation. So I was very happy that we were able to get Killer into the Hall of Fame, and he knew it, and he was there and got to talk to us and see it happen, you know.
Yeah.
Which Hall of Fame are you in?
The Texas and Southern Hall of Fame, and there's a couple of others that I'm in, you know, and the Cauliflower Alley. That was a big deal for me, but it's anytime you get honored about like that, it's special. No matter what it is, whether it's something local or national or whatever, you know.
Yeah, talk about the Cauliflower Alley award that you got. That was the Charlie Smith Referee Award.
Yes, I was the first one to receive that, and that was really special. When I got the call about it, you know, they told me that was something they hadn't done before, and of course I have a lot of respect for Charlie. He's one of the great referees, and and you know the whole experience was incredible. When you're standing there in front of all those people, all your peers, and the you know right in front of me is all the WWE people. They used to have 2 or 3 tables right there in the front, you know, and my old buddy John Layfield came in, and he was my presenter, so that was special as well. So it was a great night, you know, probably one of my favorite nights in my career for sure.
That's great.
So the Hall of Fame, the actual brick and mortar Hall of Fame that Johnny Mantell is in charge of, you're in that one as well?
I'm not in that one. That's a different Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that's one that you were talking
about. I've worked with them before on several projects, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one that moved from New York down to Texas, I believe.
Yeah.
The NW or they just call it Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I don't know. Is that the case? Okay. So going back how you got into the business, did you originally want to be a wrestler, or did you go in knowing that you were going to be a referee?
Well, I got into it a little bit later. I was playing music for several years, and so I was a little bit older, and I really was more interested in the creative side of things, and being a referee was a good way to get to that point. And it's just a natural progression for me. And like I said, the first time I stepped in the ring, I felt really comfortable, and it just felt like it fit. So I was very fortunate
Okay.
What kind of music were you playing?
Well, at that time, mostly country.
Nice.
My old band we were a bunch of old rockers, but if you want to make any money in Texas, you better learn how to play country music. So we were doing that.
You have any of that on tape or out there on the internet?
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of that stuff recorded and on CDs now. A lot of them I've transferred off of tape to CDs, so I've got a lot of that. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
I sure do. Yeah.
Good deal.
So did you was World Class where you started, or did you start out
Yeah.
at some of the?
No, well, I did some smaller things first, but yeah, the World Class was first, and then of course Global came in. Actually, USWA came in after that, and then Global, and went for the NWA, and I was at Sportatorium till it closed.
Jeez.
Now was that ring as hard as everybody claims?
Yes,
Because it was just a stage, correct?
correct. It was used also for music as well. They did back in the 60s and 70s. There was a show called Big D Jamboree, which is a country show,
Okay.
and that was taped there on Saturday nights. And they just take the ropes down, and the ring posts are still there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was a stage, and it was hard, man. I mean, it was like, if you take a bump on that thing, it was like falling on concrete.
It looked like it just watching it on TV.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of guys that came in there for the first time. They were in shock the first time they came in contact with that mat.
Well, that's probably why they just spent their time beating the tar out of each other instead of executing a bunch of moves.
yeah, it was a lot easier to do that than fall on that ring. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, watching that now, knowing that about the ring and just watching those guys beat the crap out of each other. I mean, it's different than what you see today. I mean, they've gone, a lot of those guys have gone on record too and said, hey, we were just going to go in there. That's just the mindset that we had, that we were going to go in there and just thump on each other. It's just a totally different thing now, like going back and watching it.
Yeah, and that's something that we're doing in SWE right now. We're really kind of replicating that style, and that's what I was influenced by. That's what I grew up with. That and then working in Japan, so that was my thing, and that's kind of what we're doing right now in SWE. So and so far we're getting some pretty good attention for doing that.
Yeah, I've been able to watch a little bit of it, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I agree. It definitely has, because I mean, honestly, there's a lot of promotions that use that say, hey, we're more old school, and I've tried to watch it, and I just don't get that vibe. I don't get that feel. But the little that I've been able to watch so far of SWE, I do get that feeling.
I agree with that. Yeah, big time.
And even one of the matches that I was watching, Kevin Sullivan even mentioned that, like, it reminded him of the earlier days of ECW,
Yes.
and I do agree with that.
Yeah, there were some similarities there. I mean, it was just a lot of just guys getting in there and fighting, and but we try to have a little bit of everything, some a little bit more, I guess, modern style, but for the most part, our guys are bigger. If you notice that,
Oh, yeah.
And that's all on purpose. I mean, we're purposely going that direction. So, it's consciously trying to recreate a little bit of that feel, even though you can't do it exactly because you don't have the guys there that were there.
Yeah.
But and it's a re-education process too for the wrestlers. We're having to kind of do that as we go, and it's working, and the fans are starting to catch on to that.
Yeah, they seem to be. And I was very happy to see my fellow masked brethren, Mil Muertes, make his debut.
Yes, and
recently.
he will be back. Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of his. I've been a big fan of his for a while. But
yeah, I did watch I watched an episode, before I came in here today, and I was really impressed just by the way the show was set up and presented. And it was nice that it wasn't 3 hours long either, because I can't watch the stuff they have now. You know?
Yeah, well, yeah, we're trying to get a lot into a little bit of time for sure, but and it's mostly action. You know,
Yeah.
we're not doing a lot of talking. There's some, but there's not a lot of that, and we're purposely trying to replicate that. Like I said, it's a re-education process for everybody, for a lot of them. Not for me. It's what I know. It's all I know. You know.
Well, while we're talking about that, let's give out the website for SWE.
Yeah, it's just SWEfury.com.
All right.
Yeah, and we do have an app now. You can get an app and download and find out what we're doing. It's got a lot of information on there. A lot of some of the matches are being posted on there now. It's going to be a lot of things added to it as we go. We're pretty excited about the app, and we're also on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel now.
Okay.
So and our shows are showing on that. We're adding them as we go. So and it's really been a great process over the last year and a half, nearly 2 years now, since we started this thing, and it's grown a lot, and we're very happy with the progress we've made.
Yeah, it looks great. Keep
Yeah,
it up.
I'm liking it. I will definitely check out more, and any old school wrestling fans that listen to this podcast, do the same thing. Do yourself a favor and check it out. So when I was doing a little bit of research on your career, it comes up that you were trained by Bruiser Brody.
Well, that's pretty loosely trained. I really wasn't trained by anybody. They just threw me in the ring and told me to do it. You know,
that's kind of what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, the first thing Bruiser told me was just stay out of my way.
Oh, okay.
And with guys like him, I learned how to do that pretty fast.
I was gonna say that would be great advice for anybody.
Yeah,
for him,
yeah. No, I really kind of learned on the fly. One thing I did, and I guess maybe being a little older helped me be a little bit more mature at the time, and it was real easy for me to sit there and listen without talking too much. And so, and that's one of the first things you learn in this business that you should do. A lot of guys don't learn it very well, but that's what you should do. And
Right.
so I really probably learned more listening than I ever did in the ring. You know, I'd ride in the car with guys like Akbar and Grizzly Smith, and just absorb everything that they would say. And I figured out a lot of things on the fly that way.
That's the best way to go. It's like a shoot job, you know. You do that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one of the shows that is big right now is Dark Side of the Ring. Have you watched that much?
I watched some of the episodes. Yes.
Okay, I was just going to ask you if what do you think of it overall? I mean, I know that you were probably. Well, definitely the Bruiser Brody episode, but the World Class episode too.
Yeah, they're actually fairly accurate from what I've seen.
Okay.
I mean, everybody's got different views about some aspects of everything that happened, you know, and that long ago, and some people remember things a little differently than others do.
Right.
But from my experience and what I remember. It's actually been fairly accurate that I've seen so far.
Okay. Now, what if that wouldn't have happened to Bruiser Brody? What kind of impact do you think he would have had? Let's say in the Monday Night War era. Do you think he would have been a big player in one of the big two, or maybe even like ECW, or do you think he would have just spent most of his time over in Japan at that point?
Well, I think he would have probably stayed in Japan as long as the money was there and the business was there. And in the 90s, I worked over there myself for several years. And in the 90s, things kind of dried up over there. The economy got bad. And that may have been something that would have driven him to come into the States more and work. And about that time when the Attitude Era was going on, that we call it Attitude Era. So I think that he possibly would have come back over, and if they had negotiated well with him, then I think he probably would have come over and done something there at that time. And who knows? I mean, you never know. I know he wanted to promote. He had that in his mind that he wanted to open up his own promotion somewhere, probably in Texas, probably around San Antonio. he had ideas of staying in the business for sure.
Okay. Now, where were you at that point in the Monday Night War era? That was not too long after Global closed down, correct?
Yeah, I still went back and forth to Japan a little bit, and I was working some independents, and I also went to USWA for a while in Memphis.
Okay.
And until that blew up, and in which that was an interesting experience. But
a bunch of thieves there. It sounded like.
Oh my God, man! Let me tell you, it was really a disappointing time for me, because at the time they had that agreement with Vince, and there had some guys there, and there was a lot of possibilities for that to sustain and keep going, but because of some underhanded business and greed from a couple of people, that didn't happen, and it kind of blew apart.
Is that like the Burton guy? Those guys from Ohio. Is that time frame? Okay.
Larry Burton or whatever one of his 14 or 15 names was. Yeah.
That was. So that was USWA. About what year was that?
That was 96, I believe.
Okay. So okay, let me ask you this. I had forgot about this, but I had seen it brought up recently. Was Global originally the same type of situation? Because wasn't there a guy that was going to be kind of the money man for Global that was promising a lot of money, or am I wrong here?
Global started, Joe Pedicino started Global, and I'm not sure where the money came from, to be honest with you.
Okay.
There was obviously some money somewhere.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys were brought in, and we taped at the Sportatorium for however long that period was that Joe was there. Okay. And I can't tell you anything about why or what, but the money ran out for some reason. Okay. I don't know if they got it pulled from them or just ran through it or what. I have no idea. I was actually going back and forth to Japan a lot during that time. I was working for Global when I was in town, but I'd be gone sometimes 6 or 8 weeks at a time. Okay. But I do know that they had some good ideas, good concept.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
I know Joe had some great ideas, and it was going pretty well, but all of a sudden the money wasn't there. I don't know all the details, and then it was taken over by some other people.
Yeah,
they were a little bit different. They had a different presentation than everybody else.
It became more of a regional promotion then, simply because there wasn't enough money to bring all those guys in. So we went back to pretty much using the guys that were fairly local Texas talent, the guys that still lived around that area, and brought in a few, but for the most part, that's what it was, and that's why, because it just wasn't enough money there to do what they were doing before.
Okay. Now, when did you start getting more involved? Were you strictly, when you first started out, were you strictly a referee, and then eventually you started doing more things behind the scenes?
I was. Of course, when you start out, you're just glad to be there. Trying to do what you can do. I was trying to learn that role as well as I could learn it, and do it as well as I could do it. And I was fortunate that I had a good, I guess, just a natural feel for it. Okay. And I ended up getting the deal in Japan, and I went over there, and while I was there, it gradually got to a point to where. Actually, what happened was I started working in the training center over there. They took me over there, and I'd do a tour, and then be in the training center, and then do the next tour, and then come home and go back and do that again. And while I was doing that, I gradually got to a point where I was helping some guys with finishes and that sort of thing, and it just started kind of growing from there. Actually. Randy Savage came over. He was very unhappy when he got there. He thought he was just kind of being shopped out by Vince
Oh.
because at the time, you know, and he
Yeah.
thought he'd been short. He thought he'd been shorted some money on the paper. I think I don't know WrestleMania or SummerSlam or something. I don't remember. But anyway, he when he came over there, he wasn't very happy to be there. And I met, like I normally would do, they took me to the hotel where those guys were going to be, and I met them there, and we went up, we stayed up all night talking.
Okay.
And and during that night, somehow something changed, and he got really excited about it.
Oh.
And we came up with this idea for an angle there that involved Tenyu and Haku and some other guys. But Randy went to Tenyu and pitched it to Tenyu, and they loved it, and he gave me some credit for it. In fact, he even demanded that I be involved in the ring at the time.
Nice.
And that changed everything for me as far as the guys, the perception, I guess, of me just being a referee. Okay. And it just gradually changed from there. When the company split, and Sakurada or Kendo Nagasaki took his group, I went with him because he was the guy that took me over there.
Okay.
And when I was with him, I was involved with the booking and not only just booking the talent, but booking matches and all of that. So, and I just kind of filtered over into my work in the United States. When I come back over here, there were people kind of, I guess they found out that I was doing that and started getting a little bit more stroke doing that, and it grew from there.
Oh, okay.
Which Japanese group did you first start going over there with?
It's SWS.
Oh, okay. And,
yeah,
they had the deal with the WWF. Is that what that?
Yes,
that
okay. yeah. And that's probably one of the reasons they just split apart too, because a lot of the Japanese guys weren't happy with that. It was a great experience because I got to work with all those guys when they bring them over there. Mm-hmm. But I was actually hired by the Japanese company, not by them. And so I was working for the Japanese company, and when it split, Sakurada Kendo took a group, and Tenyu kept a group and changed it. It eventually changed it to War, I think, is what it was.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, it was that was an interesting experience as well, because I think the discontent with the deal with Vince probably caused a lot of the friction there that made SWE end up splitting apart.
Huh.
Okay. Now you did work for WWE at one point, though, did you not?
I worked with them off and on a couple of times. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not as a regular though. I never worked for them regularly. No. The only regular work I did for them was in Japan, and that was actually being hired by the Japanese company.
Okay.
Is that Japanese style? Is that about as close as you're going to get to the old school Texas style?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, a lot of it is, and you know, if you watch a lot of, especially Baba's group, that was pretty much what they did.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like at home there. You know, it was very, very comfortable for me. And the only difference, I guess, is that sometimes the finishes would last for 30 minutes. But no, they were the styles, it was very similar because it was very, very much catch as catch can. You know, you act and react, and not necessarily, you don't really know what's going to happen until you get in the ring. You know,
yeah, right.
And then that was fun for me. I loved that.
Yeah, that's how we used to be, like coming up. You know, you don't plan anything out except the end.
So no, just you react to what your opponent does, and it looks more like a competition, and that's right. Again, that's something we're getting back to here. So that was my comfort zone.
Yeah. Now, what year you do have a book out called The Third Man? Right. When did you write that book?
It was published in the 2013. And at that time, I wasn't sure how much longer I was going to even be involved in the business. You know, I was kind of wishy-washy about what I was going to do or stay around or whatever.
Okay.
And then I now remember what Akbar told me one time that it's impossible to retire from wrestling. You either die or quit getting booked. And for some reason I started getting booked again, and I got back involved, and it's kind of lit. I got involved with the NWA and worked with them for several years, and then when it sold, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and then the SWE thing came up, and here we go again.
Now SWE is an affiliate of the NWA?
No,
they're not.
Not at all. No, although at our last taping we did have an NWA national title defended on our TV.
Okay, maybe that's right.
I've got a good relationship with those guys, and of course Tim Storm was one of my best friends, and he's involved, and they're starting back up again in March. And so I don't know what's going to happen there. We may still do some things with them, or we may not. I don't know how that work out, but there's a good relationship there anyway. I've got a I guess a soft spot in my heart for the NWA anyway.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We all do.
We do too. And I meant to mention this in the top of the show, and I didn't, but we lost Jim Crockett Jr. last week, right?
Yeah.
Now, did he have anything to do with any type of wrestling in the last so many years?
Jim?
Yeah.
No, not that I know of. No.
Okay.
He lived in Dallas for a while, and I had been told he had moved back to I guess I don't know whether Carolina or somewhere, but he was in Dallas for several years there, and had a little business there. But but I kind of lost touch with him.
Okay.
Didn't he try to open up in Dallas?
He did. Yes. Yeah. We had an NWA in Dallas for a while there. Yeah.
Did you work there?
I did, yes,
Oh, okay.
and we also did some taping in Chattanooga and did some kind of, I guess, in South Carolina, and I don't remember where all now, but yeah, he had visions of opening the NWA back up again at that point, and it was, I think, a matter of bad timing more than anything else.
Yeah, that's a tough sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, I was just wondering because I remember the rumors that, everybody, because I think wasn't there, like, he couldn't be involved. At least that was the rumor when they had sold to Turner, that there was like so many years before he could do anything, and then everyone was all excited when that time finally came, but nothing really came of it.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of no compete situation for him there, and he would show up at the Sportatorium even during Global time.
Oh, did he?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he'd come in the dressing room and he'd watch the monitor and look at then we talked quite a few times, and there was a point there where he started talking to me about he was going to try to start something up. So I guess maybe that time period had passed by then, and he was we did some pretty good stuff. We had a good crew, had Tully and Michael Hayes and I don't remember who all now. That had a good crew there, Yeah.
That's too bad that didn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, which promotion would you say had the roughest schedule as far as you go?
The roughest?
Yeah, the roughest as far as like travel and working.
Well, and it was really before me, but the old Mid-South, the one Leroy McGurk's territory was definitely the largest and the hardest one to navigate, physically, because it went up from Oklahoma all the way down to Louisiana, and those roads weren't great, and that was a tough territory. Tennessee was kind of tough because you go from, you do the TV on Saturday mornings at the live TV there, and then you go to Nashville and you go to Louisville and whatever in between, So that was pretty tough one. The Texas territory wasn't that hard really. You go from Dallas to Fort Worth to Austin to San Antonio and Houston, all those towns, and they're 4 or 5 hours sometimes, but not really bad,
Okay.
Did you ever work for Bill Watts, like on any of his shows?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Never.
no bill, but yeah.
Okay.
I didn't work for Mid-South. No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, because I know there's some overlap there in
Yeah, there
Oklahoma
was,
and northern
and
Texas.
yeah, he did send some guys in, and he'd come into Texas a little bit every once in a while. I did work in Louisiana a lot,
Oh, okay.
but for different promotions,
Oh.
over the years. But in fact, that period of time you were talking about when things were kind of getting slow, then I went down to southern Louisiana and worked down there a lot back in those days.
Oh, okay.
okay. Now you mentioned Skandor Akbar, a couple other guys. Who did you enjoy traveling with the most, or who did you travel with the most?
I probably act more than anybody. I mean,
Okay.
it was always interesting and an education. He always liked to drive. He'd rather drive than ride. So he was a driver, and we had some fun times. We always had somebody with us. It'd be Ack and myself, and maybe Killer or whoever. Who knows? It could be any number of guys. And and he was always it was always a rolling education to be around him. I traveled with in the global days with John Layfield a lot. We were very close. Good, we still are good friends. And of course, the last several in the NWA days, and all with Tim Storm, we traveled thousands of miles together. But yeah, those are probably my three favorite people to ride with. Yeah.
Okay.
And Akbar, probably one of the most underrated
Oh, yeah.
performers. I mean, especially like a manager, because that's kind of where we saw him,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of people forget how good a wrestler he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was over as a wrestler himself. He was a headliner in New York. He had in I guess in the Southeast, he had some great runs down there. He and Danny Hodge had a great feud.
Yeah.
He and Grizzly had a great feud. He was an incredible wrestler.
Yeah, with a couple different characters too, right?
Yeah. And I remember the first time I ever went to a Cauliflower Alley, it was in New Jersey, and I found myself the first morning there eating breakfast with Luthez and Gorilla Monsoon and Red Bastine. I'm sitting there at the table with these guys.
Wow.
And my friend Larry Dwyer. We were all sitting there together talking, and somehow Ack's name came up, and Lou just went off. I mean, just going on and on and on about how much he respected Ack's wrestling ability.
Okay.
And that told me, then that he had to be something special, because I worked with him in the ring as a wrestler a few times too, mostly as a manager, but by then he was semi-retired as a wrestler and did special things. But he was effective both ways for sure.
He drew some huge crowds there in the Middle East, didn't he?
Yeah.
Now you yourself had a handful of matches.
Yeah.
That was in global, or was that USWA?
That was global. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
Well, that was that was Eddie's fault.
Eddie Gilbert. Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah, Eddie Gilbert. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know where he came up with this idea, but he said I want you to do something different, for a few weeks and not referee at all. And the deal was we had a battle royal going on, and Bruce Pritchard was there working with us at the time, and he was managing a couple of guys, and I was outside on the battle royal, and the deal was he jumped up on the apron, and I reached up to pull him down, and I pulled his pants down, and
okay,
and then I had that god awful sight there,
right.
and so I naturally I laughed about it, and everybody's leaving, and then his guys jumped me, and that's what started it.
Okay.
So we had, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 10 matches of different kinds, some boxing matches and singles and tags and 3-6 men and all kinds of stuff. And it finally got blown off with somebody had to pull somebody's pants down. And
Okay.
if that doesn't sound like Eddie Gilbert, man, you know.
Right.
But anyway, that's how it all ended. And fortunately, I got to do the deed there. And but I mean, they weren't anything you'd want to call classic, but it was a diversion for a while, and I'm sure it was entertaining, you know, for fans.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So it was something different.
Yeah.
How many shows did you guys run a week there? Was because you know up here it was kind of hard to get the information on it at the time, and
Yeah.
you know it just looked like like it was just a TV show. But
How many? What? I didn't understand.
How many shows were you running there a week at?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were taping 2 shows on Friday nights for a 2-week show, but we were running every week.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was we were only doing that once. Then of course we do some house shows here and there, but
yeah,
but
Okay.
but the TV was on Friday nights, and we taped 2 episodes on that.
oh okay.
If you have a favorite area that you worked at, which would it be? If you don't, you don't. But
Well, obviously Texas, I mean, is my favorite place.
yeah.
I probably Japan would have to be number 1 though. I mean,
Okay.
overall, because that was the greatest. I probably did more for my career than anything else, and I enjoyed that style, the way things were done over there, the way fans treated us, the way the media treated us.
Yeah.
It was like being involved in like any professional sport over here.
Okay.
And that was a great experience over there. I loved it, and that was something I probably would have done from now on if things had stayed the same.
Did you wrestle in any of the other countries over there? Did you go on any of the tours that
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
world class
yeah.
folks did in the Middle East? Or
I've been to Korea, Middle
Nice.
East. I've been to Germany. I did quite a few different places. Singapore.
Okay.
This business has given me a chance to see the world for sure, and it's been great. Yeah.
Did you have to change your style at all for any of the different countries, or was it pretty much the same?
The only not really that much. In Europe it's a little different because you got that the
The round
rounds
system?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That was fun and interesting. I had maybe that might have been one of my most fun experiences working in Japan. I mean, in Germany.
Oh, really?
I got to do something a little different. They let
Yeah.
me do a little bit. I got a little heat.
What happened?
And it was fun, and I didn't cheat or do anything like that. It just made people mad, and it was kind of fun to do.
Purposely or
Oh, yeah,
or an accident?
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually came out of the crowd. That's how they introduced me over there.
Oh.
I came out of the crowd because the match, they had the foreigners and the European guys there, against each other and that kind of thing. And I was complaining that they were biased against the. That was the whole idea for me to do that,
okay.
And Otto Wands was doing commentary on the side of the ring there, and we got into it there together, and the fans just, man, they ate it up, and they ended up having a big press conference, and a lot of the shoot media was there, and they were trying to tell me, that it's not really like that over there and that kind of thing. And it was a blast getting heat, But and I got to I did the big blow off championship match, and it was a bull rope match. I got to find both of the guys, and that was fun. And then the finish turned out to be something that no cheating whatsoever. Just the right guy won,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I kind of got to keep my integrity as a referee, but at the same time I got to get heat, which was really fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do nowadays too.
Very hard. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
Is there any advice that you would like to give anyone that's starting out in the business today?
Well, the best advice I can get is find a legitimate trainer. and there are a few around, you know,
Yeah.
the guys that really know the business, that really know how to teach you the right way. There's a lot of guys out there teaching that don't know any more than the guys are teaching. But find a trainer that's legit, that has a track record that you can look and see. These guys learned there, and they went on and they did some things that had some success, and that would be my first advice for anybody. And I, you know, I believe a referee needs to know everything a wrestler knows.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, if you're going to train as a referee, then you need to learn that too. But, you know, I've got a lot of little pet peeves about refereeing, you know, and that part of that's in my book. There's a whole chapter in there about that.
Okay.
It's an important role that's kind of been neglected over the last several years.
Oh, I agree. Probably longer than that. You know, we always used to complain about that.
Yeah. Well, neglected and abused for sure. I mean, if you watch TV now, you know, you don't even know what the rules are anymore. They don't mean anything.
Right. No, they don't even let the referees do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're just kind of window dressing, but you won't see that in SWE, my friends.
Yeah. Excellent. That's what I was going to say. So besides SWE, what are your thoughts on kind of the current state of wrestling?
Oh my goodness! I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like one of these guys that hates everything that's new. I don't.
Well,
there's a lot of great.
Well, you'd be joining the club here.
Okay, all right. Well, there's a lot of guys out there that are great athletes. What bothers me the most about the business today in general, and what I see on TV, especially on the big letter TV shows.
Yeah.
Is that it's all about getting a response. It's not about getting a feeling. It's not about making fans care.
That's a good
for me, that's what makes wrestling. That's what makes wrestling what it is, or what it was to me when I was so passionate about it, because I watched it and I cared what happened to those guys.
Yes,
I cared. I cared who won or lost. Right. And on what I see today, for the most part, that's not the case, and that bothers me more than anything else. And it's sad, really, because a lot of fans are missing out on something that's really, really great to experience if you look at it that way and experience that way.
Yeah.
You know, I got a question for you. You know, in the research, I noticed that you played some college ball, baseball and basketball.
I went to college on a baseball and basketball, kind of a split scholarship. Tore my knee up. I was only 5'10", so I wasn't going to be a pro basketball player by any means. But I was athletic. That was part of the deal too. And I was involved in music, but my athletics were always a big part of my life as well. And that kind of played into my desire to be in the wrestling business as well.
Yeah, and it kind of played into your style too, because you were one of the ones. There was you and a couple other guys, you know, like when I was growing up, that were more athletic, and that's kind of like, you know, the position I took when I started refereeing. It was okay to be that way.
Yes, and I think that's an important aspect of it. You know, I watch a lot of referees in the Indies these days, and even on TV, in some cases where they're out of shape. They don't look like. They don't look like they can handle guys that are in the ring with them. Yeah. You know, it's not that I was going to stand up to these guys so much, but I had the authority, and I wasn't afraid to show that, and I think it was believable enough because I was athletic and had that look, you know, and I don't see that too much these days.
Yeah, you were confident enough to, you know, there was guys like you, Tommy Young, and even some of the older referees, even Bronco Lubitsch would yell at a guy, you know, get up in their face, and you kind of don't see that much.
No, they don't allow it, or the guys don't know to do it, or and you know, like I said, there's no rules anyway, so why are they yelling about it?
Yeah. It seems like a lot of matches that I've seen, the referee just kind of stands in the corner until the finish the whole time anyway. Okay. So we're gonna have to wrap it up here because you have a podcast of your own coming up.
I do. Yeah, in about an hour. Yeah.
Oh, an hour. Oh, okay.
It starts at 8 Central Time. I'm not in a hurry. Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking we had to go, but go ahead and plug your podcast too. Is that the one that you're doing with Hannibal?
Yes, it is. We started doing that several weeks ago. It's called Inside SWE Fury.
Okay.
And or Inside SWE TV. I don't remember which one of those, but I don't even know the name of my podcast. That's too bad. But yeah, we have different guests on every week, and it's been fun to do, actually. Hannibal's been a big help to us, and you got a big audience out there, and that's helped us.
I was going to say, I've seen a lot of his interviews. He's killing it on a lot of the shoot interviews and stuff out there now.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of that, and he's doing a lot of stuff for us that it just because he likes our product more than anything else. And he came up with this idea himself about doing this Inside SWE thing, and asked me to do it with him, and it's been fun. Yeah, it's a good experience. I kind of on that side of the mic, for a little while.
Yeah. Well, we can attest to that. It is fun doing these. You got any more questions?
Yeah. Geez.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I was wrong on the time.
No, that's okay. Because I'd like to just dive into more of the refereeing, not too much, because we don't want people clicking off of this thing because we're referees. So when you started, once you got going as a referee, how long did it take you before you kind of said, "Yeah, I get it. I can do this, I can do that, and I can help out here, and I can help out there." Was that?
It's really hard to say that there was a moment. I don't know. I like I said, I felt very comfortable in the ring the first time I was ever in there.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good grasp of what was going on and how things worked, and because I've been studying it and watching it pretty much all my life.
Yeah, that helps.
And so I kind of had an idea. I wasn't and I wasn't going to do anything stupid. I knew that.
Yeah.
So I was trying to play it safe for a while and just kind of follow the lead. I don't know. There's a point somewhere where that you're there, and I think part of that is when the guys start coming to you and maybe they start even asking you some questions, or they start kind of including you in what they're doing and that kind of thing, and you start going, well, maybe they see that I know what I'm doing and they want me a part, and then they start working with you in the ring and they start making you look like what you are, that authority thing, which is a real trick, because the guys don't do that anymore. They don't know how to work with a referee. If they knew how to work with a referee, they might get a little heat. I mean, real heat, not just the cheap stuff that they get a lot of times.
Right.
And without rules, you can't do that. Without rules, you can't get heat. Yeah. It's just impossible. Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. There was a point somewhere in there where I realized I'm one of the boys. Okay. And I don't know. I don't know that I could pinpoint that time. I know that getting the deal in Japan was a big deal.
Yeah.
And that probably sped that situation up a little bit, because I think at that point in time it had to be really something special to go to Japan. I mean, the wrestlers, they didn't just take anybody over there. And then I went over there and I got hired actually to work there. I mean, I was working for the Japanese company, and as far as I know, I'm the only foreign referee that's ever actually been hired by a Japanese company to work there.
You know what? Yeah, I don't remember.
And that the old sheets that used to be out and everything, there would be stuff about that in there, and I think that got out, in the business, and that kind of put me in a little different light in some cases. So I think that helped, but I don't know what that moment was, but there was a time somewhere back there where I realized that, hey, I'm one of the boys, and just accepted there, and that was a good feeling.
Did you get a Ribera Steakhouse jacket?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I figured you did, but I just
I actually got that pretty early on.
Okay.
I don't remember the first time I went over there. It may have been the first time I went in there, because they were making a big deal out of what we were doing over there.
Okay.
And it was all in the magazines and all that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
you know, I'd do stuff in Dallas at the TV, and then come to Japan, and then all that in Dallas would be covered, and all the stuff I'm doing in Japan is covered. So, you know, I was getting a little bit of recognition there,
Yeah.
and plus I was hanging out with the guys, you know, all these well-known guys, you know, and so that helps too. And so I got that jacket probably. That jacket's probably nearly 30 years old. I drag it out every once in a while. You know,
Okay.
I went back over there 2 years ago, and it was really funny. There's an NWA thing when I was 3 years ago now. I can't remember, but it was when I was still working with NWA.
Okay.
And we went to Rebels that night because a couple of the guys had not been there before, and they wanted to go, and we went to the old one, the original one.
Okay.
And we walked in, and Tim Storm was with us, Matt Riviera, and Rob Conway.
Okay.
Rob already had a jacket. And of course, mine was, like I said, it was already 30 years old, 25 years old, whatever. And the owner's son was there. He was running things, and he comes out and he hands them jackets and T-shirt. He looks at me and he goes, "You have?" Yeah. And he said, "Come here." And he comes over and he points up to the middle of the ceiling in Rivera's. I mean, dead center of the ceiling. And there's a picture there of myself, Jim Neidhart, Randy Savage, and Haku.
You know what? When I was researching this, I saw that picture. When I was looking up, yeah.
That it used to be in the front window.
Okay.
But that picture has been in Rivera's for almost 30 years.
So
Really?
how do you get the jacket?
And now it's dead center. And as soon as he saw me, he took me over there and pointed up, "You."
Okay.
And that was a cool moment, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've been to Rivera's many times. Yeah.
Is that where you eat the steak?
Yeah.
And then they give you a jacket if you eat it all?
No. It's not.
No. Yeah.
No.
They only give the jacket to people that they think are,
Yeah.
I guess, significant in the
okay.
business.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pro wrestling themed restaurant.
All right.
It's like a museum. Incredible.
I was just
pictures.
looking at some of the pictures inside online.
It's unbelievable. You stand there all day long and look at things.
Really?
It goes all the way back to rickadozen and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, as wrestling fans, we hear about that aspect of it, but how is the food there?
It's okay.
Okay. I mean,
you put a lot of garlic on it. And it's
okay.
okay. It's not the greatest steak in the world, but it's okay.
Is it more about quantity than quality, sort of? Because I mean, I was looking at some of the pictures, and they got the Yokozuna steak that's like 64 ounces or something.
Yeah, it's a fairly good sized steak, but it's more. I think it's more the experience than anything else.
Yeah,
you know, and
that's kind of what I figured.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's good food. It's just, you know, it's not like going to one of the top steak restaurants or something like that. But it's more the experience than anything else.
Yeah. That's kind of what I figured, but
yeah. You put a lot of niniku on it, and you're good. You got the garlic. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You have a it's hard to pin one down, but do you have a match that comes to mind, maybe stateside or in Japan, that you just remember refereeing and you're like, man, this is good, you know?
There's been a lot of them.
Yeah,
I mean, when you refereed, I don't know how many thousands of matches I've been involved in, you know, and both here and there and everywhere else. You know, I can name probably 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 of them that I can remember. A lot of them I just can't remember. I just know that they were, you know, you go in there and do your work, and you know that feeling when you walk out of the ring and you know that you've done what you really set out to do, that you made the fans feel that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's the greatest feeling in the world. You know, you just, you know, you've accomplished something. That, you know, I don't know. A lot of times I'll talk about a tag match I remember over there that with Sano and Jeff Jarrett against the Rockers, Sean and Marty.
Mm-hmm.
That was about a 40, 45 minute match that was just, man, we were all exhausted when it was over with. You know, And I remember that one, for some reason, and it must have been really good because that's why I guess that's why it's there, in my mind.
Okay.
But there's been so many great matches, that I've been blessed to be a part of. That some of the greatest workers in this business over the last 35 or 6 years. And
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
it's been an incredible experience, really.
Yeah, you probably worked with them all. I mean, because you started early enough to get some of the, the older legends.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, with a lot of them, yeah, and it's, I feel so, like I said, it's just a blessing, really, because I got to know and be friends with the guys that used to be my heroes, like Red Bastine and Johnny Valentine.
Okay.
They would show up at the sportatorium and you'd sit there and talk to them and learn from them, and I miss those guys. Red would call me from anywhere. He may be anywhere. You never knew. He was a real ambassador for our business, and just out of the clear blue, just called to say hi. How you doing? That kind of thing. And I miss that thing. I miss that because that's another one of those things where that you're part of that. I guess that fraternity, that's really special, that a lot of people may not get that feeling from, but it was a special feeling to know that those guys cared about you and respected your work and all of that. And it's been a real blessing for sure.
Yeah. And you get that at the local level too. I mean, that's kind of one of the things with wrestling, you're pretty much, even if you're a referee, you're getting beat up compared to most normal people, so you just have that respect, what they're going through.
Yeah, the guys at the sportatorium used to rib me all the time because I would come out, the first time and get a pretty good pop.
Yeah.
And they would rib me that I was the biggest baby face at the sportatorium. which what it was really is the fans trusted me. They knew that I was going to try to do my job, and it wasn't that I was a babyface referee, because I wasn't. I got on the baby faces just as much as I did the heels, but the fans knew that I was going to do that. They knew that I was going to at least try to enforce the rules, or at least look like I'm doing that. Yeah, and I think that's what kind of got it over, and it's true. I'd walk to the ring and they'd get a big pop. It's just it was that's another one of those moments when that maybe you finally made it.
Yeah.
Now that you bring that up, I and this just kind of popped in my head. Like, really, I think the fans expect the referee to be more real. Because pretty much all the fans know that there are certain things going on in the ring that might not be up and up, but they expect the referee.
That's what I tell guys. I work a match like a shoot.
Yeah. I did too.
Yeah, he did too.
Exact same way.
That's the way that's the way I look at it, and that's the way it is. And I think the fans respect that, and the wrestlers respect that.
Yeah.
The ones, it's a great feeling when you know that the guys want you to be the guy in the ring.
Yeah.
And I've had that experience many, many times. Last year, it's been 2 years now. I did the event in North Carolina. It was in North Carolina, or I don't remember now. No, maybe Iowa. Well, anyway, we did North Carolina. We did the WrestleCade thing.
Oh yeah.
And they had a match there set up for George South and Muda.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And I got a call. They said, Muda said he wants you to referee. Okay. And I said, well, absolutely. I didn't go there to referee, but
Yeah.
So when you got guys like that ask for you, that's a good feeling.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Can you give us any not spoilers, but maybe like some kind of preview of any names that might be coming into SWE soon?
Well, there's a couple of surprises. One that I can't talk about.
Okay.
I promise I couldn't. But yeah, we've got. We talked about Mills Martez. He'll be back in April.
Okay.
Hernandez will be there.
Okay.
Milena has joined us.
Oh, okay, great.
We had the last taping we had. Lacey Von Erich was there. She's not wrestling, but she's become part of the company now. And
Okay.
we're working with us and behind the scenes. Trying to think who all may be there on the.
So
Can't
does
remember all the ones that, but there'll be some names coming in, and that's an important thing. Davey Boy Smith will be there.
okay, I did see that.
Yeah, and boy, Davey's great, incredible.
Yeah.
Of course, our regular crew, Charlie Haas and those guys. Charlie Haas has our title right now.
I saw that.
A lot of people think he's going crazy, but it's just Charlie. That's just the way he is. Charlie is a master in that ring, man. Unbelievable. Rodney Mack, of course, is our TV champion, and Christy James, our women's champion. Jazz runs our women's division, and she takes care of all that. But yeah, we're going to have some names coming in, but our goal really is to build our own people.
Okay.
And then we'll use some of those names to help do that for sure.
Right.
But we're not trying to be a lot of promotions come in and they hire all these names that's come off of WWE or ex wrestlers and there's some value in that in some cases, but for the most part that's not what we're trying to do.
Okay.
We're trying to build our own people off of wrestling.
Man,
and off our style.
Good. Good. I'm glad.
You guys are doing it the right way.
Because that's something.
We don't want to get caught up in that situation where we're spending 10 times as much money on a guy that's not really worth it to us.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as disrespect or anything, but it's just a fact.
No, we understand, and we've talked about that for years because of the way things run around here, which is exactly what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're more interested in building our own talent and giving that exposure. We've got a couple of guys that are Max Castellanos and Moonshine Mantell right now who are in a war together. And that's gotten a lot of attention, and those two guys are you're going to be hearing a lot from those two for sure.
All right.
But that's our goal really. Our goal is to be our own thing and do it our own way, and that way is a lot more traditional than some of these others.
I think I want to cry. That's great.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we've talked about the same stuff for years, so I'm glad to see. And like I said in the beginning, I know a lot of people have said that over the years, but from what I've seen so far, you guys are actually doing it the correct way.
We're trying to, and we got a lot of good people working behind the scenes that work hard and keep us going in that respect, and working with Teddy and Kevin has been a blessing. Those guys are great minds. Both of them are very creative, and it's been fun working with them. It's not one of those situations where everybody's pulling in different directions. We all want the same things, right. and it's been fun. And I've enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I got one more about your TV. I noticed that you have a pretty impressive channel list, for like syndication on the Action Network.
Yeah, well, we're on a lot of broadcast stations off of that, and we're adding a lot as we go. In fact, we're talking to some other people right now about even more. That's something we want to spread out and try to get as much exposure as we can, and of course. That means more work.
It does. That's kind of where I'm going. Are you going to follow the TV
sponsors? Yeah, sponsorships and all that stuff have to come with it too. But that's the business of the business, and that's. Thank God that we've got people that are taking care of that, and I don't have to deal with it. I tell them, I say, I'm a wrestling guy, and that's what I know, and I'll give you the best product I can give you, but when it comes to the rest of that stuff, I know what needs to be done, but I'm not the guy to do it.
Yeah, I will say that that's the best wrestling show because we don't get it here. We saw it on YouTube. Yeah. That was the best 1 hour of wrestling that I've seen in forever. I mean, beside watching like old school stuff, like the Hollywood.
Thank you. Yeah. That's, like I said, that's absolutely on purpose. Well,
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're striving for, and there's going to be some different styles in there too. We've got some guys that can fly around if they need to, but the main focus is going to be wrestling and trying to make people care about what happens in the ring and care about who wins and who loses, and there's going to be consequences for that, not just having the title change every 2 weeks and that kind of thing.
Okay, great.
We have a very old school philosophy about all that.
And I noticed Teddy Long's in there, former referee. Maybe that's why things are going so well, because you got the referees finally in control.
Well, that's true. Teddy and I have a very similar background.
Yeah.
We both started as referees. Teddy ended up going into more of the, I guess, the mouthpiece type thing, where he did, that kind of thing. But he's incredible at what he does.
Yeah.
He draws us a lot of attention. He knows a lot of people. And he's so easy to work with. I mean, he's just a super guy. And I knew that from way back. But, and I know he and my friend John Layfield were very close, and they traveled together a lot. And John was singing his praises, so I knew that we were going to hit it off very well, and we did. And I've known Kevin a long time too. He's one of the most brilliant minds in the business. And I tell people, if they had listened to him in WCW, we'd probably be working for him now. And that's true. He really was the guy, the mind behind kicking Vince's ass in the Monday Night Wars for a while, and the inmates started taking over the prison, and things went south. But he was one of those guys that had that kind of mind, that he knew what to do, and he still does, and we're reaping the benefits of that right now.
Yeah, he can create a bad guy, can he?
Oh
like
yeah, he knows all about that. Yeah.
So kind of playing off the Teddy Long thing, did anybody ever propose to you to be more of like a manager, or maybe like get involved in besides the wrestling that you did do?
There's been a few times when that's come up. Okay. And I toyed with the idea of doing that at one time, because I think it'd be fun to do, for one thing. And I think I could probably handle that pretty well.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think I can talk well enough that I can do that kind of thing. If it were the right situation, who knows? That may happen at some point. But when I went to USWA, I was the matchmaker there on TV. I was actually working behind the scenes with Dutch. Dutch was a booker, and I was working with him putting the TV together. But on TV, I was the matchmaker. I was the kind of the face of it. So that was another time that I've done something a little bit different, and that was fun. I enjoyed that. I just wish it lasted a little longer.
Jarrett wasn't there at that point, was he?
No. He had pretty much backed off the business completely. Jerry Lawler was there, but Jarrett was not. Yeah.
All right. You got anything?
I'm good, man. This is great.
Okay. I mean, for real,
talking forever.
That's what I was just gonna say. We could sit here and talk to you forever, but unfortunately, we gotta adjust this so it fits into our TV time slot.
I understand.
Yeah, you're going to be on TV,
guys. I always enjoy talking wrestling.
Yeah, you're going to be on TV up here in Michigan too. So.
Yeah,
and hopefully we can get some broadcast stations up there and come in. That we like to do that. That's one of the things we have in our long-term plans, is to come to some of the places where we're on TV and present live shows there, and not only live shows, but actually tape our TV in those areas.
Good. Well,
so that's something we definitely have an eye on to do.
Okay,
we'll break the ice for you. We'll have you on TV here.
Just one more quick question. I know you got your podcast coming up. Can you give us any preview of what you're going to be talking about on there tonight?
Yeah, we'll be previewing a little bit of what's going to happen, what happened on the last taping, and what's coming up on the next one. One of our managers, Nigel Rabbit, will be our guest on there. Davey Boy Smith was actually originally planned to be there, but something came up. I'm not sure what happened, but Nigel will be on there with us, and I'm sure that'll be interesting because he's always, if we can get him to shut up long enough to get a question in, we'll be okay.
All right. So anybody that where can somebody watch your podcast? They go to the same address that you gave out earlier?
Yeah, right now, Action TV, you can find it on Fight. We have our own YouTube channel. That's the easy way to do it.
Yeah.
You can go on there and find it. And again, our app is out there. We're doing more and more with that app right now, and a lot of things planned to do in the future with it. And some special things, like we're taping some things, and you'll see some, maybe even matches and some interviews and things on there that you wouldn't see on our TV. So,
great.
We're pretty easy to find if you look for the streaming thing.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's SWEfury.com. That's Sam
Correct.
Whiskey, EdgarFury.com. Well, you got to say it because the S, the W's, it's kind of.
Yeah, exactly. All right. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for being on our show. Hopefully sometime maybe in the future you could come back.
Oh, yeah.
And love to. Yeah. Anytime, guys. I appreciate your support and enjoy talking to you. And anytime you want, we've got some guys I can bring to you too that'll talk to you. So,
fantastic. Yeah, we will definitely do that.
Hey, give our regards to the team down there. You guys are in right direction. Like it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, let them know that they got some fans way up north.
Yeah.
Good deal. I appreciate that. I'll tell them tonight for sure.
Hell yeah.
All right. Thanks again. And
right.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Night.
All right. Take it easy now.
All right. So as always, everybody just stay tuned. Check the ONTV page. Check the Butch Bludd page, and for future shows. And Brace Beemer, any parting words?
Yeah, great job booking that talent. When you told me it was going to be James Beer, I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. Because you don't. Yeah,
that was.
You don't hear much out there on the internet doing a bunch of stuff, and then unless you're watching the wrestling program. But as far as stuff like this, he hasn't been around in a while.
No, right. I've been friends with him on Facebook for a while. So I've seen some of the stuff lately that he's been doing, but yeah, so that's why I had that idea and it worked out, and yeah, that was great. And seriously, I could sit there and talk to him for forever.
Oh, hell yeah!
All right, just everybody just keep checking for the next Wrestling Tonight, and thanks for tuning in.
Where can you be found at? What's your where do they go for that? The Butch Bludd page?
Just the Butch Bludd BLUDD Facebook page.
Oh, okay. Great. Perfect.
All right. See everybody next time.
Yeah.
Captain Carnage, Dr. Tweed, The Mask, Miss Linda and Adrian Street, the Human Bomb Shelter, Jake the Snake, ask Mad Dog DeCurso if it's real or fake. Golden Greek told us the giant goon Dickoff, El Toro, the Grunt Brothers too. The Wild Samoans got some